Hidden away in the Estonian capital of Tallinn is an amazing late Soviet-era concert hall which has been disused for the best part of 15 years. It's too vast to demolish and is protected in any case. But as this technology and property hub of the Baltic reaches near saturation, what will they do with this urban planning dilemma? You're listening to Tall Stories, a Monocle production brought to you by the team behind The Urbanist. I'm Andrew Tuck. In this episode, David Plaisant visits this hall, which locals love and loathe in equal measure.
As you approach the Linnahall, just a 10-minute walk from the centre of Tallinn, the building's structure is totally baffling. What appears is a very wide set of stairs equipped with now rusting metal handrails. Once climbed, the stairs reveal a vast concrete-clad expanse, this time equipped with dozens of rather elegant, although again rusting, lampposts. More ascending and then descending stairs and terraces follow until you reach the sea. You have to be careful not to miss the vital signs that make this a piece of architecture rather than a dystopian, almost post-apocalyptic landscape.
It's an enormous building spread across a quite large area. The overall floor area is around 38,000 square meters.
It was built in time for the 1980 Moscow Olympics, when the Soviet capital, far inland, relied on the coast of Estonia for sailing and maritime events. Those mysterious stairs to nowhere, in fact, lead to a staggered platform, which sits on top of an enormous 5,000-seat concert hall and adjoining ice rink. Originally named the Lenin Palace of Culture and Sports, today, the Linnahall's future is uncertain as debates about its preservation and redevelopment abound. However, more than just a brutalist relic to be fetishized over, this building encapsulates the shifting political, cultural and social landscape of Estonia and its capital. Designed by local architect Rainer Karp, Linnahall's construction represented a unique mix of Soviet ambition and local design sensibilities. Karp envisioned a building that could host large gatherings. He believed that the auditorium's classical amphitheatre design provided the best acoustics and visibility available. If Estonia had remained independent, we would never have built anything like this, says Mika Karu, who is an architectural historian who also conducts increasingly popular tours of this strange bunker-like edifice. Although the architecture was progressive for its time, he says, the sheer scale and design made it a distinctly Soviet project. That said, our guide is somewhat magnanimous in his approach to Linnahall's very peculiar architectural history. Mika explains that the building represented a unique architectural voice within the USSR. Estonia's architect, being so influenced by Finnish and Swedish styles, was viewed as distinctly Western within the Soviet Union, a fact that made Linnahall a unique hybrid in Soviet-era design. During the 1980s, this was the heart of Tallinn's cultural life. It hosted concerts, performances and even political gatherings. The building thrived under a Soviet system of subsidized culture and maintained public buildings. However, after Estonia regained independence in the early 90s, Linnahall's relevance began to fade. The building was simply too big for the cultural life of Tallinn, says Mika, referring to the vast capacity of this venue in the city of 460,000. The population of the entire country is less than 1 million more than that. There are, after all, just 1.3 million Estonians. This led to a cycle of fewer and fewer events, decreased income, and less funding for maintenance. This death spiral continued, says Mika, culminating in 2010 when the building was closed to the public due to severe structural deterioration. Mika tells us that as a way to provoke debate, he often asks visitors if it should just be left to deteriorate and become a memorial of a bygone age. As we walk from hall to hall through corridors and past what must surely be one of the world's largest cloakrooms, the many buckets dotted around to catch rainwater dripping from above is a haunting reminder of the Soviet legacy in Estonia. Our guide, like many people in Tallinn, has a very personal connection to the building. For Mika, all the decay evokes feelings of both nostalgia and some trauma, as he recalls his first visit here as a child to watch Bambi in 1988. So one wonders if the Linnahall story will have as tragic an ending as the famous Disney film.
Space or hall, this kind of multifunctional event space that is used.
The building has recently reached international audiences thanks to Christopher Nolan's 2020 film Tenet, where the Linnahall is transformed into a Kyiv opera house. The massive Hollywood production allowed for cleaning, mould removal and some ventilation improvements. But as Mika points out, most of the renovations were entirely cosmetic, done more to make the building look better on screen than to restore it for public use. Linnahall's future remains highly contested. Several years ago, public outcry erupted when the city government proposed demolishing it as part of a plan to redevelop the harbour area.
Of course, we noticed right away this reverberation that the linoleum is creating. Tenet put this linoleum in foyer. It used to be carpeted.
According to urban anthropologist Kadi Pilt, this place has huge potential, noting that architects and experts from all over the world come here and are envious of Tallinn having this magnificent building. She points out that despite its structural issues, the foundations remain solid, and with its vast 38,000 square metres of space, it holds an enormous opportunity for redevelopment. Yet the challenges of repurposing the building are complex. Both the exterior and interior of Linnahall are protected under heritage laws, restricting modifications that might make it a functional and contemporary space for the city. Some have suggested transforming it into a conference centre, given the lack of large-scale venues in Tallinn. Post-COVID realities, however, have dampened the demand for such spaces across Europe and beyond. For now, Linnahall remains in limbo, a symbol of Tallinn's Soviet past and a perplexing focal point in the city's architectural landscape. Kadi envisions a future that honours the building's history while allowing it to serve modern needs. She imagines it as a low green hill, allowing for wonderful views over the sea. This vision harks back to the architect's original concept as a landscape that belongs to the people, allowing Tallinn Old Town's inner green belt of parks to stretch all the way to the Baltic. As debates continue, the building stands as a testament to both the ambitions of the past and the hopes of the future. Whether it remains a decaying relic, a well-preserved cultural site, or hopefully a revitalised public venue, the Linnahall will always be an indelible part of this Baltic nation's story.
Tall Stories is a Monocle production from the team behind The Urbanist. This episode was written by David Plaisant and produced and edited by David Stevens. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast to receive new episodes every week. I'm Andrew Tuck. Goodbye, and thank you for listening, City Lovers.